What if I told you that every single day your brain is playing a hidden game with dopamine, one that dictates whether you feel unstoppable or stuck in a cycle of distraction? It's a game researchers have studied for years, but most people have never heard the rules. These dopamine flips are the secret mechanism powering your best or worst moments, and understanding them could finally unlock effortless focus and consistent energy, especially for those who struggle with attention. This isn't just about productivity tricks. This is about rewiring how your brain works, starting today. Before we dive into these dopamine flips and how you can use them to your advantage, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon. The Growth Mindset Project is all about turning science into action, and you don't want to miss any of the practical strategies coming up. Let's get real. If you've ever felt like you wake up ready to conquer your to-do list, only to completely derail by lunch, or find yourself sucked into distractions just when you need focus the most, there's a reason. Experts who study motivation and attention have identified 3 dopamine flips that occur at predictable moments each day, especially in brains that respond more intensely to stimulation. These flips can make you feel like a superhero one moment and a self-sabotaging villain the next. The best part? Once you recognize when these flips happen, you can take simple actions to avoid the crash and ride out the highs in a way that works for you. First, let's bust a myth. People who struggle with attention or motivation don't necessarily have less dopamine. They're often more sensitive to it. Their brains absorb each notification, each comment, every stimulus at a higher intensity. That's why the highs feel higher, the lows lower, and why it only takes a small trigger to flip the entire day, from hyperfocus to total shutdown. These sensitivity-driven flips aren't random. They happen in 3 clear windows. Winning your day doesn't require more willpower. It requires understanding your personal dopamine landscape. Ignore the flips, and distraction becomes the norm. Understand and manage them, and you get to decide the direction your mind takes. Let's break down window 1, the first dopamine flip, happening right after you wake up. For about the next 30 minutes, your brain is like fertile soil, ready to absorb whatever seeds you plant. Your natural biological rhythms cause a spike that wakes the body up and primes the mind for the day. Here's the catch. What you do in these first moments sets the pattern for the entire day. Most people sabotage themselves before getting out of bed, grabbing the phone, scrolling, checking emails, letting other people's priorities hijack their focus. When you're dopamine sensitive, that hit of stimulation is like stepping onto a roller coaster before you're fully awake. Want to win this first flip and program your brain for deep focus and clarity? The most effective move is surprisingly simple. As soon as you wake, get dressed and go outside. Natural light signals your body to lower the hormone that keeps you sleepy while lifting your alertness and stabilizing your dopamine levels. Add 10 minutes of movement, walking, stretching, or even standing in the sun. When you combine movement, daylight, and fresh air, you mix the perfect brain cocktail. You activate neurotransmitters that keep your mind steady, clear, and ready for the day. To amplify this flip, leave your phone inside. Let your thoughts breathe. Reflect on your goals, the things that matter to you. Because whatever you expose your brain to first becomes the mental soundtrack of your entire day. For years, I wondered why my focus disappeared by noon, until I started guarding this first dopamine flip like it was sacred. The change was immediate. More clarity, less distraction, and a sense that I was finally steering my mind instead of reacting to it. We're just getting started. But before I tell you about the second dopamine flip, the one that can undo all your morning progress, tap the like button if these strategies are already helping, and comment with which morning habit you want to upgrade. Back to the flips. By around mid-morning, if you've handled your first window well, your brain is riding a wave of stable dopamine. You can get your hardest tasks done, maybe even slip into a zone of hyperfocus. But then comes window 2, the infamous afternoon crash. If the first window is your ally, this one is the saboteur. Everything can fall apart here if you're not prepared. Picture this. After a decent lunch, you sit back down to work. Suddenly your mind gets foggy, motivation tanks, and even simple tasks feel impossible. That's your second dopamine flip. Everyone experiences some version of it, but if you're dopamine sensitive, it hits especially hard. When you eat a heavy, sugary, or processed lunch, your blood sugar spikes and then crashes, amplifying your natural dopamine dip. Add less circulation to the brain while your body focuses on digestion, and suddenly your mind just can't keep up. You get irritable, unfocused, and start craving quick dopamine hits, snacks, scrolling, procrastination. What's the fix? Start with lunch. Choose foods that keep you energized instead of sluggish: protein, fiber, and healthy fats. This softens the dopamine drop. But no matter how perfectly you eat, your dopamine will dip about 30 minutes later. The only proven way to recover is movement. A short walk is enough to restore a huge part of your focus. Combine light movement with something gentle like tea or water, and you glide through the crash instead of crumbling. Another powerful hack: change your environment. Spend this window somewhere you feel gently observed: a cafe, a library table, or sitting near a friend who's working. That small sense of accountability keeps your brain from chasing distractions. Window 2 is powerful, but manageable once you expect it. Now let's move to the final and trickiest dopamine flip: the 30-minute window before bed. You've made it through the morning, survived the crash, and checked off your goals. Now you want to relax. But this is when your dopamine system flips in the opposite direction. Late at night, your overall dopamine levels are at their lowest, and your brain becomes desperate for stimulation. That's when people fall into late-night scrolling, binge-watching, snacking, or staying up hours longer than intended. Here's how to beat this flip. Protect the final 30 minutes of your day. Start by making sure you burned off enough energy earlier: a workout, a long walk, or anything that gets your body moving. Then, remove screens entirely from your last half hour. Put your phone in another room. Give your brain nothing tempting to chase. Let your mind slow down naturally. Reflect on your day. Read something simple. The goal is to let sleep catch you before your dopamine-sensitive brain starts hunting for stimulation. Mess this window up and you reset everything. You wake up drained, lose the morning flip, and restart the cycle of distraction. Designing these 90 minutes, 30 in the morning, 30 after lunch, 30 before bed, can completely reshape your life. Protect these windows from negativity and unnecessary stimulation, and you give yourself an advantage most people never discover. Ignore them, and dopamine will run your day instead of you. If you want a deeper dive into the science of dopamine flips, plus a practical system for building focus without relying on willpower, check out the other videos here on the Growth Mindset Project. And don't forget to hit that bell so you never miss a dopamine flip that could change your life.